Joe Biden, who liberals celebrated the ascendancy of because of pledges to, for example, protect railroad workers, because of pledges to, for example, not start a nuclear war, because of pledges to turn Saudi Arabia into a pariah, is reneging on those promises. It wouldn't be anything to do with oil deals and weapons deals, would it? No, that would be so cynical. I mean, that would mean that Joe Biden is just another corporatized president running a corporatized country who doesn't care about ordinary people. And that can't be real, can it? Because that would mean that everything you read in the mainstream media, everything you see on mainstream TV was absolute lies, and that can't be the case, can it? But let's just remind ourselves of the pledge he made back in the giddy, happy old, silly old heydays of campaigning for presidency. Remember, it was all good stuff in the news then. No one talked about laptops then because that was a conspiracy theory back then, and this was conspiracy fact.
The CIA has concluded that the leader of Saudi Arabia directed the murder of U.S.-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi. President Trump has not punished senior Saudi leaders. Would you?
Yes, and I said it at the time. Khashoggi was in fact murdered and dismembered, and I believe in the order of the Crown Prince. And I would make it very clear, we were not going to in fact sell more weapons to them. We were going to in fact make them pay the price and make them in fact the pariah that they are.
Yeah, right, make me a pariah. I don't need any more oil deals or any weapons. Let's see what's in the news now. What? A US judge has dismissed the lawsuit against Saudi Arabia's Mohammed bin Salman that claimed he conspired to kill journalist Jamal Khashoggi, saying the Crown Prince was entitled to sovereign immunity despite credible allegations that he was involved in the murder. Oh, that's really weird, because that sounds like the opposite of a pariah, doesn't it? Seems like you say you're going to make someone a pariah when you need to be elected. You say that a laptop's a conspiracy theory when you need to be elected. Then once you're elected, oh yeah, that laptop was real. Hey you, we're going to be needing some oil. Need some weapons. Judge John Bates, a US District Court judge with a long history of presiding over cases involving national security, acknowledged uneasiness in making the decision. Listen, I'm just going to make this decision that's hypocritical and against electoral pledges. Imagine being that judge. Hear ye, order, order, now to get to the bottom of this case. Was he culpable or was he not? I've got a wig on, I've got robes. He's been granted immunity by the Biden administration. Well, everyone might as well just go home then. But I've still got my wig. Judge John Bates, a US District Court judge with a long history of presiding over cases involving national security, acknowledged uneasiness in making the decision, but said that his hands were in effect tied by the Biden administration's recent recommendation that Prince Mohammed be given immunity. So they simply bypassed the legal system that's supposed to administer justice. Easily done. And necessary if you need to do oil and arms deals.
The Crown Prince has been sued in the U.S. by the fiancé of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. He was murdered in Saudi's Istanbul consulate in 2018, and U.S. intelligence believes MBS ordered the killing. Meantime, for months...
Hey! Good ordering of a killing. Allegedly. Sir, you're fist bumping with someone who we said we were going to make a pariah.
The Biden administration has been pushing Saudi Arabia to increase oil production amid high gas prices.
The dismissal of the civil claim against Prince Mohammed and two of his close associates means the Saudi heir can now travel to the US and other jurisdictions freely. Although the case was not brought by US prosecutors with the power to arrest him, if it had been allowed to proceed, the case would have created a legal minefield for the Crown Prince, and if he had been found guilty, could have put his financial interests in the US in jeopardy. Aha, now we understand how power operates. Prior to an election, pariah. Because that's the right thing to say. After an election, do it like mate, actually, because you've got financial interests that align quite nicely with our own interests. Saudi dissidents and critics of Prince Mohammed have previously expressed grave concerns about any possibility of the Crown Prince being granted immunity, saying any such decision would seal the aura of impunity around the 37-year-old prince and could be seen as offering him a license to target other journalists and dissidents around the world. Well, a little bit, because if you allegedly have one journalist killed for reporting negatively against you, and then you're granted immunity, it does seem that maybe down the line, if any other journalists, they think you might kill them. Oh, you think just because I've been granted immunity for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi that we would murder other dissenters allegedly? That murder of Jamal Khashoggi was part of a surprise for your birthday to ensure that it ran smoothly. Well, you're just like your father, who we've also granted immunity. Two sources close to members of the Saudi royal family administration confirmed to The Intercept that Saudi had asked the Biden administration grant MBS immunity. At the same time, the US wanted the kingdom to turn up oil production. Oh, No! The request for sovereign immunity was a ploy, Dawn, a non-profit funded by Jamal Khashoggi, wrote, laying out a simple argument. Head of state immunity is typically reserved for a country's leader, which in the case of Saudi Arabia is its king, MBS's father. King Salman, senior to Crown Prince Mohammed, is head of state. There can't be two heads of state. They're only under an obligation to grant immunity to the head of state. This dude ain't even the head of state. They've really had to push the boat out, stretch the boundaries of what's typical in international diplomacy to grant this immunity. Oh, there's nothing we could do. Our hands were tied. He's the head of state. Rules is rules. He's not the head of state. You could have him prosecuted if you wanted to, and he would be subject to the judicial procedures that would provide justice normally. Oh, I'm getting very tired. Hunter, we beat Big Pharma this year. We didn't beat Big Pharma either. I'm going back to sleep. In August, the Biden administration approved a potential multi-billion-dollar arms sale to Saudi Arabia worth an estimated $3 billion. So these oil deals and arms deals are a simple side note, an irrelevant distraction to the procession of justice and immunity and just good old-fashioned international diplomacy. Ah, Joe Biden, thank God he's turning America around, reintroducing morals, values, protecting workers and making sure Saudi Arabia are a pariah, quite rightly, because of the murder of that journalist Jamal Khashoggi. That's why he's made members of the Saudi royal family an absolute pariah by pushing for them to get immunity from prosecution. Hold on, mate, that doesn't make sense. They're all fucking liars!